Hansei, Chantel Gladu, Nasigasan, Treaty 6 Territory Ochinia, Nehil Esqueonia, Irene Dejale, Nagawi, Asigasa, late David Charles Gladu, Nadawi, Asigasu. I am a daughter, a sister, a niece, an aunt. I am a granddaughter, a friend, and most importantly, I am a mother of two. All these form my identity. Before we get started, I would like to mention that this podcast is protected by the love of my ancestors and is a safe space for all. I also want to thank you for tuning in, whether you're here as a support or you're curious or you're just being nosy. Just kidding. Thank you. Honestly, I appreciate you all. It's been a long time coming, and I've been talking about creating this podcast for over a year or so, and I'm finally taking the leap. I'm excited, but I'm also very nervous. I think my biggest fear is scaring y'all with my personality. I'm wild. I've come accustomed to saying I'm from Treaty 6 territory because my relations are from Papa's Chase, which is now known as Edmonton, Beaver Lake, Saddle Lake, Human, Bonnyville, and Thunderchild First Nation. I am a member of Frog Lake First Nation. I was born to my mother in Edmonton, Alberta, and on my mother's side, my bloodline is Cree and French, and on my dad's side, my bloodline is Cree. My cookin raised me from 9 months old, and at that time she was like a gypsy. We moved back and forth from Thunderchild to Bonnyville, but we also lived in Kelowna, Lloydminster, Calgary, everywhere. My cookum is a fluent Cree speaker. However, she never took the time to teach me the language due to colonization. And so a part of this podcast journey will include me learning my language, and I hope it helps others reclaim their language as well. My cookum did her best to show me our culture because I remember attending my first sweat ceremony around the time I was like 6 years old. I was raised to be a hard worker, and through my life experiences, I've gained the gifts of empathy and compassion. I'm currently a full-time student at Blue Quills University in my 4th year of the Indigenous Bachelor of Social Work program. I'm looking forward to graduating this year. I'm also a part of an amazing group, the Lakeland Society for Truth and Reconciliation. So if you're listening, shout out to my team. Since moving back to the Lakeland area, I've helped coordinate a few events like the MMIR 2S Plus Convoy in St. Paul to raise awareness around our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives and Two Spirit Plus relatives. I also helped coordinate the Social Work Conference. That was a virtual conference. It was a 2-day conference with keynote speakers, Dr. Kevin Lewis. He is the founder of Kaniasik Culture Camp. We also had Ben Steinhauer. He is a knowledge holder and storyteller. Michelle Nia Viadomi, she is the founder of Esquel Health and Healing Our Home Fire. And then we also had Marcia Wakanta Have, co-founder and CEO of Danish Consultation and Indigenous Capacity Building. That was an amazing conference to be a part of. So shout out to my cohort. Honestly, we are such a vibe. But the biggest advocacy work that I've done so far is the planning and spearheading the Healing Awareness Walk with the help of my sisters, Tigra Lee Campbell, Ashley Cardinal, and Andrea Steinhauer. So we walked from Bonnyville to Edmonton in 4 days back in July of 2022 to raise awareness around substance poisoning after losing my brother to drug poisoning in July of 2021. My children's father, Gordumi, and our daughter had joined us for that walk, so that was quite interesting and empowering. Which brings me to the purpose of this podcast. I've been back home going on to 7 years, and I can see my community and surrounding communities struggling with addiction and mental health. That is what led me to taking the social work program at Blue Quills University. And this podcast is about advocacy and having a safe space to share. I've witnessed racism and prejudiced behavior from non-Indigenous people towards First Nations people, especially and these agencies that are supposed to be resources for everyone, our First Nations people are treated so poorly. And in most cases, we have to jump through hoops just to receive proper services. But I also want but I've also witnessed our own people being unkind to each other. At times, I catch myself behaving poorly, and it sucks because I know that's not who I am. I understand that behavior stems from colonization and the negative impact that the residential school system has left on Indigenous people. And that is what I want to talk about. In this country, it is illegal to deny the Holocaust. It's not illegal to deny the genocide of Indigenous people across Turtle Island, which continues to traumatize our people because now you're denying our experiences. I'm 39, I'm going to be 40 in October, and I can honestly say I've come a long way in my healing journey. I had no idea that my late Japan was a residential school survivor until I was 30, 31. That is when I started connecting the dots. Okay, this is why my family is dysfunctional. This is why my family can't speak openly about hard truths like sexual abuse, family violence, bullying. I mean, the list goes on. We can't have those hard conversations unless there's alcohol involved, and that needs to change. I want to begin this podcast by talking about my own experiences and then reaching out to community members to share their similar experiences. Some of the experiences that I've gone through would be addiction, alcohol being my DOC. I've experienced domestic violence, which led me down a dark path of destruction. I attempted suicide shortly after my 15th birthday. I had abandonment issues for a very long time because I never had a father growing up and my mother didn't raise me. That experience made me feel like, what the fuck? Why am I even here? I know my purpose now. I'm here to be a helper, and I honor that. I truly believe talking and sharing is the way for our people to heal. And I pray that this podcast brings that good healing medicine, that it will inspire others to speak their truth. No shame. This is about love and acceptance. So if I got your attention, you're going to want to lock into the next episode. I share my experience in foster care, although I wasn't in foster care my whole childhood. That short time had left a lasting impression, a very traumatic core memory, and I need to share it with y'all. Hi, and thank you. I hope to see you in the next episode of Muskeg Tea with Chantel G. See you.